Kia ora tātou, welcome back to the Wargaming Den. Just a little solo game for you this week. I've been painting up a few miniatures and I wanted to try out some new smoke rules that I'm trying to develop for Battlegroup, because the lack of smoke rules really annoy me in the rule set. Otherwise I'm very happy with them. So just threw together some forces of stuff that, as I said, that I've recently painted, and the game takes place somewhere in Italy. Let's have a look at the forces. German forces for a little solo playtest. So I've got a HQ, platoon HQ, 3 Panzer Grenadier squads, each has got 2 MG34s, Armada 2, a grill because I just painted it up last night, Pack 38. British, I've got an HQ, there's the platoon command carrier section, 3 Shermans, painted for the Italian campaign, and I'm going to have 4 sections of infantry. Right, let's just have a quick look at deployment. So, got a bit of a hill beyond this road here, and the Germans are holding the village at the top of it. British have to attack from across the stream. Germans deployment, there's a Pack 38. We've got a forward observer in the ruin there. We've got a section or squad of infantry there, and a machine gun section there. I think that's the platoon HQ with the Battlegroup HQ down below. Got a medium machine gun in the building there, another machine gun section, and this trench is being held by another squad of Panzer Grenadiers. So the idea is that the British have to cross the stream. They start on the far side of it and have to capture 2 or more of these buildings to win the game, or, as usually happens in Battlegroup, break the opposing battle group. And just a quick view from the British side. So the British deployed their carrier patrol and also rolled and got 3 additional units that could deploy on the table at the beginning. So they put down 2 rifle sections and a Sherman. Just a little solo game here. So a German Panzer Grenadier platoon is holding an Italian village, and the British are launching an attack across the stream to try and dislodge them. Germans, their HQ here is pinned from the pre-game bombardment. In their first turn, Germans actually went second, but I'm on this side of the table. A lot of the German units went into ambush. The Pack 38 tried to fire at the Sherman just down there at the far end of the orchard, and the only other firing was the forward observer, who was here, ranged in successfully. That green token is the point where it landed, with an artillery strike of the onboard mortars, and they did 2 casualties and pinned a British squad there. So not a great deal of action on turn 1 actually. I think these guys should have gone into ambush, onto ambush as well. So on to turn 2 for the British. Right, and here we have the British turn 2. So the Sherman advanced into the orchard at the end of the turn, so did the infantry. They have lost 4 more men though. The Germans that were in this corner here with a MG34. They ambushed and put some casualties on, but the British passed their morale tests, and then the Sherman and the carrier opened up and managed to knock out that German squad. So Germans now have 2 battle rating counters at chits. They took 1 because the British had 1 more recon unit, and then that was the first loss. So Germans are about to respond. Successful turn 2 from the Germans. They only got 4 orders dice. First thing they did was call in the mortars, aiming point to the green counter there, and they hit the Sherman, which ended up being pinned. Also hit the recce carrier, and the infantry section that was by the Sherman got pinned, and they failed a morale check and departed. Otherwise, the only real thing the Germans have done is moving the medium machine gun, getting it over here. But the British attack is stalling, but luckily it's turn 3 and their reserves are about to start coming on. How many reserves? Oh dear, just 1 this turn. Not a great deal of action on turn 3. The mortars tried to range in on the infantry that had been unpinned, and the machine gun squad also tried to open fire, but failed to spot them. Otherwise, the heavy machine gun just moved into position over there. So not a great deal of action coming from the Germans. As we move on to turn 4, how many reserves come on for the British? They get 5. British turn 4. The reserves are starting to come on now. Sherman pushed forward and tried to suppress the mortar, as did the carrier, but neither succeeded. This other Sherman advanced up the road and knocked out a machine gun team. So the Germans took a chit, and the infantry that had been unpinned advanced to the edge of the orchard. So starting to make a little bit of progress. Germans turn 4, turn 5, their reserves can start to arrive. Here we just have an overview from down the table. So the Sherman's starting to move round past the orchard, out of line of sight of the pack. There's the mortar up there. Carrier is observing from in the orchard. The other Sherman's advanced, and the section that had been pinned, I used a rally order. They've now advanced, and here we go with the reserves starting to make an appearance as well. In the German turn, the mortar ranged in on that spot there, pinned the infantry again. The Sherman was fine, and also the recce carrier got pinned. The other Sherman was out of range. The Pack 38 on the hill trying to shoot the Sherman, which is there, missed. It was concealed, and the target moved. And otherwise, Germans are starting to send their infantry across to try and support where the weight of the British attack is now falling. But onto the British turn 5. I think they've got 1 section left to come on. British turn, they managed to put a hit from a Sherman onto the Pack 38 and pinned it, took 1 casualty. Otherwise, not a great deal of action. They're just pushing forward, took those pins off and took a chit for that. And up there, just trying some new smoke rolls. They were trying to smoke the Pack 38, but it drifted. But just want to see how these rolls work out. And in their turn, the Marder drove on. 2 shots at the Shermans, both just missed because of range. The Grill also drove on and tried to take a long range HE shot, but failed to spot, and that's my attempt at some smoke rolls. So on to turn 6 for the British. Things are hotting up. The Germans unpinned, got a 5 on their chit though, which wasn't ideal. The Marder's now unpinned, and finally so is the HQ, which will be able to smoke once that smoke clears. Here we go, turn 6. Turn 6 and it's all over. Sherman advanced but missed the Marder. But then the second Sherman hit it and knocked it out. And the third Sherman knocked out the pack. And then at the end of the turn, the carrier advanced, killed one of the crew of the mortar. Then the infantry advanced, killed a second crew and failed its morale check and departed the table. So that gave the British the win. Didn't really get much of a chance to try my new smoke idea because the British mortars were off table most of the game, but tactically I quite liked being able to drop smoke, even though I'm just using the regular artillery rolls to see where it actually ends up, but it does hopefully influence the way the game plays a wee bit. But I really enjoyed that. I thought it played really well. Playing on a 4x6 table, we played on a 6x6 last week, I think was interesting as well, because the ranges are so much closer, so the infantry get into combat quicker, which means they're less susceptible to long range fire. So maybe a 5x6 would be ideal for an attack defense scenario like this one, maybe. But yeah, I was quite happy with the way it played, playing widthways on a 4x6. Definitely a bit more room, and the British were able to just way up this flank and completely get enough stuff going to make it more meaningful. If I was playing down the length of the game, it just would have probably ended up a bit of a slogfest because there wouldn't have been so much room to maneuver, but it is what it is, really. And there we have it, a fun little afternoon experiment. I just threw the forces together and then realized I needed to know what the battle rating for each force was, so quickly scribbled it down and worked it all out. It played pretty well overall, I thought. Need to keep playing little games like these. Solo gaming's good to try and hone your tactics and ideas a wee bit. I had an afternoon free, so thought why not give it a go. Look forward to playing some more Battlegroup in another couple of months. I think Richard's going to be available again, but really like playing in 20mm. I'm very happy with the way both of the armies are looking, and maybe I'll get another solo game done in a few more weeks. We will see. But until next time, thanks for watching. Ka kite anō. Take care.